Alright guys, as promised, this is Andrew at FloryPB. We are going to test fire the 05 speed that we just put together with just a little breakdown and some lube. Got a little bit of a varied mix in paint in here. And we do not shoot the dog. So 05 speeds, if you heard that, they sometimes and they will have a pre-fire. So let's see what we're shooting at chrono-wise. 260, 268, 269, 260, 270. That's pretty good for just feeling it. Let's bring up a little bit. 309. Shoot high. 293, 303, 306, 306, 297, 288, 303. That's pretty good. Let's pull this out of the way. Something's going wrong. It's definitely shooting a little slow. I don't think it's an eye issue because it's reading the paint. I think it might be set really low. It can definitely do that. So shooting good. We can look in the manual and see why it's shooting so slow with paint. I think it might just be a setting why it's shooting slow, but that's not too bad. If we have to adjust something like that, that's really not a big deal. I believe the eyes are working. They seem to work when we put our finger over them. So I'm not exactly sure why I was shooting as slow as it was to start, but it's a good start. Definitely it's playable. Shot 300 feet per second with very little effort there. That speed isn't exactly, you know, old school tournament worthy, but to go play rec ball in the woods, that shot pretty cool, actually. And we will continue with this, and we'll go through the electronics next. We'll do an electronics video next on it. Then we'll do a full rebuild video after that. And yeah, really quick one, especially from us, so that's kind of unheard of. Again, it's Andrew at FloryPB. This is part 2. Alright guys, we just took it back in. Figured let me add to this video of the shooting because it was so short. Get off you. And we will go into the internal menus on the 05 speed and correct the issue we were having. I think what it was, it's a hopper setting probably. I was just reading quickly through the literature a little bit, but we will do a factory reset just because we're not trying to tune this thing to be anything but reliable right now. It's an old marker. You're not trying to eke out the very inch of performance or whatever you were supposed to do back then. We're just going to get it shooting reliably and correctly and shooting a lot faster than that it was shooting. So we'll just try a factory reset first. So we got to just take off the grip on this side of the marker. It's a very decent illustration for everything. We'll pop the barrel off too, just so we don't keep hitting it on things. This is an area I love. LED markers, like I get the place for the LCD screen and why it's there and everything, but you don't really adjust a marker much after you set it up, really. I mean, I don't, at least, so I don't particularly see the need in having a screen all the time. But when you have to set it up originally, it does help a lot. And I almost feel like Angel in the WDP intentionally made this a little trickier than some of the other LED kind of markers were back then, just to give it a more premium feel for their markers that actually had screens on them. So we have the marker on. We're going to press and hold the internal button for 2 seconds, then release the factory default. We'll be loaded. Let's see if we can change any colors here. So, turn it off, turn it back on. Everything looks kind of okay there. Let's pop it off again. Turn it on. Let's cycle through the menu a little bit. The top LED on this is the one that tells you what you're doing. The next one's going to end up being dwell, and we just got to see where they put it stock. Is that dwell? This is nothing on. That is red. So we're going to look for, press the internal menu button till the top LED flashes green. So this is our dwell. And where did they tell you to put it stock? Let's try to reset this thing again. So you can raise the dwell a little bit like that by pressing the trigger. We can cycle all the way up to the top or down. It was sitting there. We didn't really have a problem with the with that, so I'm not too concerned. The thing I'm more concerned about, trigger offset, yeah. The trigger bounce didn't feel bad. We're gonna go to the loader hopper because this marker doesn't really have a maximum rate of fire limit, so let's go around till we get to 4 is the LED light. We are looking for top flash is orange. It's flashing orange. We're on 3. We are using a fast force fed type hopper. Unless that's not orange to them. So we're going to bring it up all the way to the top that we can. It's a little easier to see when this is color on it. So there's 4 different settings. We are on setting 4, which would be loader fast force fed. And that's what a rotor is. So that's going to improve significantly that speed that we were getting, because it was basically an eye delay. That I was seeing it and it was delaying it in order to allow us time to have a paintball load in, probably from a 9-volt agitator or maybe a 12 or 18-volt agitator. It's just a delay setting. So I think we pretty much have this wrapped up. Trigger offset is Angel's way of saying bounce settings, debounce. I don't know why they call it that. So there are 5 levels of adjustment. Demo mode is a single green bar, and then you have other bounce settings after that. So you can make it rip pretty quick with that, but it's just bouncing like crazy. And if you're not familiar with shooting semi markers, you wouldn't really know what bounce is. We're in demo mode, so how many settings do we have here? All the way to the top. Yeah, let's be conservative and put it in the middle, just to Oh, the 6th LED indicates that you are in demo mode. So that would be, I guess just rip it mode is what demo mode is. So let's just read this real quick. There are 5 levels of adjustments plus demo mode. The single green LED buttons, minimum amount of trigger, offset, the increased settings, more LEDs illuminate, reduces the damping. So 1 is the most damping, 6 is the least damping on this. But by the way, I just read that. Let's see what the middle does. Again, we're the force feed there. We're looking at our dwell. Our dwell is set to 3 of 6, which is right in the middle. The range available is 7 to 12 milliseconds, so that's nicer to see. Dwell controls the valve opening time. Longer dwell uses more gas and generates pressure variables. Okay. Shorter dwell uses less gas and reduces noise, but is less tolerant to poor quality paint, meaning your paint to barrel match matters a lot more if you run a lower dwell, and so is your LPR pressure. The range available is 7 to 12 milliseconds. The menu can only be accessed. Remove left hand grip, yada yada, switch angel on. Ensure you not press the trigger. Press the internal, yep. Press the trigger each time. Pull the trigger to adjust the setting. Each trigger pull will adjust the dwell by 1 millisecond. So 3 is 10, a dwell of 10 milliseconds. That's right where you want to be. The older Angels, you want to be around 14. These, I'm pretty positive 10 is stock, but that's kind of where I like setting them anyway. For the 05 speeds, the A4s, A4 flies, those kind of markers, it's not a bad area to have them for the low pressure Angels. Alright, so that looks okay. I like that. So we're going to turn that off, and don't want to go back outside because it's pouring rain, but that is a rundown of the electronics in it. There's not a whole lot you can adjust, which is a blessing, I think, in disguise for most people, because there's a lot less you can actually screw up on this than some other markers that have some weirdo and, quite frankly, useless functions, most of them, because you don't use too much more than what we just looked at there. So we set up to have a faster hopper rate. I always like the smart eyes in this. It senses to make sure. So you can put your finger down and it'll go once. But unless it sees it cleared, it won't go again. And you get the eyes off by holding the trigger, which isn't so bad, but it does take a little bit of time. That's one of the settings that could be nice if, like a Predator board or something like that, those old boards, they used to have, I don't know if they did, if I'm thinking of the right one that had them, but a lot of those boards had, like, settings for how long you had to hold your trigger until you had a force shot, and how long you had to do a pull in order to turn the eyes off or something like that, because, you know, if you were in the middle of a tournament back then, and you sit there, and you're not firing, that's a long time to wait before you get a shot out of the gun. So that's just one of the neat things from back then. Yeah, kind of wish we looked through this originally, but that's what we get for just trying to go bare bones with it. But that is, in a nutshell, me re-educating myself on how to deal with the electronics on the 05 speed. I honestly think the 04 speed had a little bit of a nicer setup. It didn't have a screen, but it had a screen. I don't know if there's a better way to say that. Let me try to find one real quick. There's one. No. Hold on. So the 04 speeds, they had an LED screen where they had this whole system there, but you had all the mode dwell. It would tell you what it was in, so it's easier to comprehend without the manual to figure out if you were in the dwell mode or whatever you were in. There was battery, maximum rate of fire, S level, which I don't remember what S level was. Sensi, it's these actually had a decent sensi in them that semi worked a lot better than the cops from the previous IR3 model, Dwell, and Mode, which was only semi. I maybe in Europe they had something different, but it was only semi here. So that's the 05 speed year after versus the 04, and we'll definitely build this one up too, because this is pretty rare. It's actually an 04 speed Demon, so this is the Warp Sports version of the 04 speed, which was kind of cool that they did a not the budget marker I should say, but they did the lower end Angel, and they did one of them too. So they did the mid-range marker, and they made a custom one of those. And, you know, 1 year difference. You can get these at 45 frames too, but you get a whole lot more. You get a whole lot more with the eyes. I love this era of the trigger with the veneer wheels and everything. This era was just kind of but this is the way to do a trigger, honestly. They feel great, these old Angel triggers, especially from these generations. The grips feel really nice. These are cool grips too, and just the options you got with these, and it was a big leap from the previous gen to this gen when you did it. Not size-wise or anything, it was just a leap in its ability, basically, to compete with the modern markers that everyone was going with. And just how nice it felt and how nice it shot. But I think I babbled enough. This is going to be longer now than I intended it to be. It's Andrew at FloryPB. Sorry you had to sit there and watch me stumble through reading a piece of paper far away from myself, so I couldn't really read it well. And yeah, hopefully you know something now about 05 speeds and how to adjust the few settings that are adjustable. And with that, the next video will be us starting to break this thing down and do a full disassembly, a full tune, and a full everything to it. And yeah, that's it for now.